And welcome back to All Star Fandom. Got the whole gang back together for the first time in a long time. Man, good to see Jen all around the world, all around the galaxy.
Doc, literally.
Before we jump in, though, still want to say this. I told Doc this last week. Thanks for holding it down through the Daredevil reviews. That was really dope to sort of be on the other side of things and let y'all run that. So I really appreciate y'all taking care of that.
It was so much fun, and Doc and I were just like, let's just get in it. Just forget it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Everyone knows who we are.
Yeah, we just jumped right in it. But yeah, I'm the Doc. Jen, we're back for our Star Wars. We actually have our resident Star Wars savant with us this time.
Yeah. We needed you last week.
We needed you. What happened. We went off the rails.
Listen, I haven't watched a full episode last week, but I saw the clips and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we went off the rails a lot.
Hey, we was like, hey, Jen got to deal with this because she ain't responding right now.
Yeah, we even got like a Boys in the Hood reference in.
I saw that clip. I was like, he did not make that reference.
Hey, your man was straight like, no, come on, dog. We gotta do better. I'm just saying, let me say something. I'm gonna say one thing before we continue. Is it mean does Star Wars look old but futuristic? Like it look like they in the 50s and 60s, but it's futuristic as hell.
But that's done intentionally, so it matches the original films.
Okay.
See, and that's the one thing I had a problem with a little bit with episodes 1 through 3. It looked too new, but then at the same time, I can see how it looked new then, but look what happened to turn us to make it look like, to make the world or galaxy looks like this now.
Yeah, well, you see that in Rogue One, where it does look really good, but then because of where it's at in the timeline, it has the original technology that George Lucas introduced in the original film. So it has to match what we see.
Which I absolutely love, too, by the way. Like
I love that they did that.
Big square buttons, pressing everything, just like that. But I think we need to hop into this because we got 3 episodes. And also,
do you have?
Thank you for watching. If you're watching live, we appreciate it. Also, hello out there.
Hey, Doc.
Thanks for watching. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us on this journey again. I might be a little rusty through this. This is my second show back in months. It feels like so.
We nerding out.
So let's hop on into it. So let's hop on.
Oh, this mother.
The way we're gonna. Okay.
Oh dang!
So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna go episode by episode. So I'll give a little bit of a rundown of what happened, then we'll jump into it. Then we'll do the same thing for every single episode after. So it's 1 year after the premiere. Well, let me take it down right there. It's 1 year right after the last 3 episodes we just saw, and our boy Syril, Doc's boy Syril, right here. He's stationed at the Board of Standards field office on Ghorman, but is secretly operating as a mole for Dedra and the ISB. He walks the dangerous line monitored by the Ghorman rebels while feeding information to Dedra, who herself keeps Syril in the dark about the Empire's plans. I've liked Syril so far this season. I don't know what that says about me, but
that means your ass want to be a spy. That's what that means.
You like
you see the great time he having being a spy. Anyway,
okay, Johnny Quest.
So meanwhile, Saw Gerrera shows the backup, which I'm so happy to see. He's training his militia to raid. What is it, Redonium?
He's starting to go cray.
Yes, he is a lunatic.
So Wilmon, he's there to sort of aid in the self-made fueling sapping device, but Saw detains him until his crew is confident in its use. The rebellion remains fractured and paranoid, vulnerable to both infiltration and internal betrayal. Then we get Cassian and Bix. They're still lying low, while our good friend Mon Mothma and Luthen maneuver in the capital's upper echelons. This episode ends with that sort of mounting sense of both sides, the rebellion and the Empire, preparing for some sort of escalation. So, that was episode 4 in a nutshell. Jen, toss it over to you.
Okay.
Your initial thoughts of this episode, episode 4, Ever Been to Ghorman?
This is definitely a setup episode for the next 2 episodes that are coming up for this. And I like, as it was announced, I like that we're time jumping. So we have a beginning, we have a clear beginning, middle, and end for each arc that we're getting each week. So I think it was a really good setup for the next 2 episodes. We could see where everyone's at. We're understanding where they're at mentally, psychologically. And I know there's some unhappiness about some of the content. We can talk about that later. But I really like how they set it up. It just really, in my opinion, they did it. I think they did executed this really well. And it connects 5 and 6 really well to the end result and what we're ultimately building up to for the rest of the season. So I like how we're seeing all these different dynamics, how the chess pieces are moving. So very good.
Doc, what are your thoughts? Episode 4. We're sticking to 4 right now. What were your thoughts on it? Initial thoughts?
So
I see him over there.
At first, I'm sitting there. You know, I love a good spy movie. I love a good spy show. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, first off, I'm getting tired of Syril and his mama. You understand me? Both of them getting on my nerves. You understand me?
What do you mean? She sounds a little like
don't
she sounds like a lighter Weezy. George.
Her voice is gone, and she's struggling to get it out. But she has, every time she talks, she has such disdain for her son. It really pisses me off. But we're gonna talk about that later. Okay. Now I appreciate the setup. Getting to my man Saul, because Saul is a whole lunatic out here in these streets. If y'all don't know, what is he on? What is it called? Jen?
The Redonium.
Yes, that's what you tell my man. You got to get it all up in you.
Okay,
all up in your skin.
So hold on of that. Hold on.
Okay, let me. I like the setup. I like the setup for the next 2 episodes. I enjoyed the story, but your girl got to be careful. I forget her name, the senator, because she's starting to wear on her face. Mon Martha is starting to wear on her face that she's getting upset with the Empire because the way she walked out of the whole little chanting ritual, whatever they had going on, people watching her. You see what I'm saying? She gonna have to be more careful.
That was like their Pledge of Allegiance, right?
Well, that was the Pledge of Allegiance, yes. And that was all also set up in season 1, which is why she and Luthen bang heads together so much. And it's one of those conversations that both sides are right. There's neither of them were wrong with what they were talking about in season 1 from their perspectives. They were both right. It's just like there's no winners in that. But that was all set up in season 1 to where we're seeing more of this now.
Yeah, and I think just like Jen said, and I'm gonna ask Jen, they didn't dive in. I want to ask you a question about it. The Redonium. I didn't pick up fully what that was used for, or what fuels that. Do you know any insights into?
Personally, I don't. I have to do a little bit more research on that. But from what I can tell, because of what I've seen in other storytelling with Saw Gerrera, he's going to blow stuff up. So it's probably going to be used.
That's what I thought.
As a bomb to blow something else up. But if there's a more particular use, just because the fact they allowed Saw Gerrera to have dialogue about what that does to a being in Star Wars, as far as how the body reacts to it. So my other theory tied to that is it's going to be like a poison bomb. So it's going to go off and it's going to poison people and basically kill people with this poisonous, I'll call it gas for the moment. I know that's probably not correct, but like I said, I have to do a little bit more research on it.
Yeah, it felt very like gas because again, we'll get to when he's.
It's a starship fuel. That's what it is. It's a starship fuel. You ain't supposed to breathe that in with no gas mask.
That's why he has the gas mask.
Have your naked skin on that because it starts to burn your lungs when you breathe it in, bro. That's what it is. And your man,
could you
blame him? Go crazy with it.
But I like this episode too. Again, Syril was doing his thing as a double agent essentially.
I know his little boy on the inside is happy.
that must be me then, because I'm like, I would love to play both sides too. Like he's showing more of this to me. Again, it's only 2 parts in, but I want to see where his story goes, because he's being played essentially by both sides.
Yep.
And
he's a pawn.
But once he finds out that he's a pawn, because it's gonna happen, I feel like it's gotta happen. What happens to him then? What story arc does he take then? Does he change some stuff up? Does he join the rebellion? I don't know. You never know. But I got some other questions just through this, just in case. But Doc, while I trifle through, peruse my questions and whatnot, Syril, your favorite character.
See, you gonna keep saying that.
What's your thought on his character arc so far?
Before I answer that question, Jen, is Syril an integral part in these books? Before I say my theory,
he's a brand new character.
This is
all right.
All
so check this
new.
out.
Yeah,
This is what
Dedra too. Dedra
is what's going to happen to him. Dedra is fully committed to the cause. She don't give up. You understand me? Syril can be wishy-washy at times, especially around his mama. I think they're gonna call him a pawn, and Dedra is gonna be the one to take him up out of there. That's what I think.
Which is gonna cause more baby mama trauma drama.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's what I think is gonna happen.
Well, I look
like
we do
grew up with a toxic mother, and now is in a toxic relationship with a
because his girl treat him just like her. She just don't talk to him like her, like his mom.
But she's also allowing him, like treating him as an equal to a degree, because they both have a common enemy. They both want Andor. So the fact that they have that, they're still on the same playing field. But
here's the thing. The flip side to that is he did save her life. See, people forget about that. He did save her life.
I didn't forget about it, but at the same time, she's still gonna waste him. That doesn't
but
matter.
that's what I was going to say. If there's no love in her heart, like I said, because she seemed like she committed to the cause.
Can I just
say
there's
no love in her heart? She out of there. I mean, he out of there. Syril out.
Can I just say, I have consumed a lot of movies and TV shows in my watching journey, and this toxic relationship takes the cake. I physically get so uncomfortable watching those two.
I almost more than Vanessa and Kingpin.
It's so it's
it's
a weird dynamic.
It's worse than that. It is worse. I'm just like, ew, please don't. No.
Well, we do have a question.
Turn the lights off. That's what she told him. Turn the lights off.
So it's top. So something else. Can we just talk about the beautiful yet efficient world building they've managed?
Yes,
it is.
Ghorman
gorgeous.
Is absolutely gorgeous.
The culture, the language, the fact that it's a fashion hub. That's such a cool. Now, this is where I have to fact check myself. I don't know if that's known in the books. It probably is. But I just love how they did Ghorman and the protesting and the different viewpoints of one person's, wanting to rebel and how they see rebellion should happen versus someone like Cassian, who's been working with Luthen, and their perspective on rebellion and how you go about that. And Luthen not happy with, I know I'm getting ahead, but like Luthen not happy with Cassian, and then all the stuff that happens in the other two episodes.
Luthen ain't happy with Luthen needs to not be happy with himself buying forgeries. You understand me? We'll talk about that in a minute.
Love you.
Okay. One moment here. But no, I think just the world building that they've done so far,
it's wonderful.
Has been great.
It's beautiful.
And aesthetically, they all man, just visually looking at it and aesthetically, they have a personality. Each place does. Like even where is Syril working at the Bureau of Standards, the field office there. Like
it's a Pacific culture vibe.
So much. But anything
like the way they say goodbye it's
that gesture.
Unique,
I love that gesture. Oh my gosh, I love it.
But I don't want to jump quite yet because I do want to talk about Saw, and we have also our boy Wilmon is out there, and he is essentially being held hostage at the moment.
He ain't asked for none of that. All he did was try to figure something out for them, and then now my man is like, "No, you can't leave until I say you can leave."
I really love. Real quick, just because it popped in my head, I really love that we're sitting with this character more because we could just see how intelligent he is.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that with that mechanism, he knows 8 different variations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
like the back of his hand. That dude is like a Sherlock.
Oh yeah. Now, was he in the books?
I don't believe so. I believe this is also a new character. Storytelling.
Okay.
But like even like Saw, is he in the books? But he's been in other media as well, right?
I believe Saw Gerrera is in some of the books. Takako, I think you would know if you do. Just put it in the chat.
What's his personality before we meet him now? Like, because he
so
seems
we
like...
we get a sense of him. I believe there's some episodes of, I think it's Clone Wars that he's in. Rebels definitely, where he's much younger. In the Rebellion, and he's a completely different mindset and character. But then, it's Rebels because Ezra gets involved. But you see in Rebels how he begins going down this path of insanity, bit by bit. So you see a drastic change. I believe he's in Clone Wars or somewhere else where he's much younger, and then you see him again in Rebels and where he's developed to, and then now you see him here in this time frame before we see him in Rogue One and just how far gone he is.
Yeah, man. I gotta give it up to Forrest Whitaker. I
love that he came back. Thank you, Forrest.
Boy, he can play a crazy person.
I was on a few of the socials today. And some people were talking about like his voice, but we've heard him before in Rogue One. Like we've seen Forrest Whitaker play this character before.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it's like raspy, delusional, yet
and
makes
it's
sense.
Almost gone.
Like it's right there. Like the star is right there. The light is right there. I know it is, but he over here.
Yeah,
and I like him over here.
But he over here.
Exactly.
I like him over here.
Exactly.
But like to that, like you have to see a progression. So as an actor, like trying to put myself in the shoes of an actor and how they make decisions of where a character is at, since this character in particular has so much scope and there's so much story with him and what we've been introduced in other mediums. I would assume that Forrest Whitaker would think about that and where he is now versus where we see him, where he is in Rogue One. You have to see a difference, and you have to see the progression of what we're getting to in the show, which is the beginning and the opening of Rogue One. That's where we're heading. There has to be some differences to where he is before he even gets to that.
Yeah, and we're doing these jumps every part too.
Yes,
so we're
jumping each time.
Mm-hmm. Man,
so for the next set of 3 episodes, we're jumping again.
Which I enjoy that a lot. Like I don't know why I didn't know if I was going to enjoy the time just because like we said earlier, I didn't watch the first run and the first season until like it was all done and I just binged it all. Mm-hmm. But even with this, I'm loving the time jumps. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I'm like, that's a lot of time to take up before we get to Rogue One too. And I want to be able to, once that last episode finishes, Disney Plus better have Rogue One up there because I just want to press play and go.
They go right into it.
They do. Right.
That's
one of the good things Disney does is once a new show comes out, they update the timeline order immediately. So
which I can appreciate. Marvel's got them on their toes.
It's in there. It's in there. So the moment you're done, you should be able to finish this show and then go right into Rogue. There might be some repetitiveness in the beginning, but that's where we go.
That's where we go. But let's jump into episode 5. I have friends everywhere. So
everywhere.
So yeah, we start off with the radio interference invoking sort of some wartime tension. Bix is still recovering from torture, relying on drugs, wildly enough, that we saw in episode 4.
Yeah.
As Cassian departs for Ghorman, he's disguised as that fashion designer. What was his name? I didn't write his name down.
Tarpon something or other.
Oh man,
I should have wrote it down. I didn't.
It was in my other notes. But no, he shows up to the party, like slicked back mullet, like
I loved it. I love this new persona he had. I'm like, look at him.
Yeah, seeing him, he's playing the game finally. He's playing the game of the rebellion. Like, hey, it can't all be just brute force. We gotta use some tact here. But no, he goes to Ghorman, and also he sort of figures out that Ghorman front is woefully unprepared for a serious resistance. Syril further ingrains himself with the rebels by voicing disdain for ISB. Aided by a falsified backstory, the Ghorman front recruits him to steal shipping schedules for an arms race. He reveals in the spycraft, unaware he's being manipulated as much as he's manipulating others. We even go a little bit further. We go back to see Saw. He kills that lieutenant who's suspected betrayal, essentially being leaving Wilmon to carry out the fuel theft. Wilmon was teaching him all the variations, and all of a sudden we just see a boom right to the head. He was a traitor.
He was
during the missions. Yeah, during that mission with Saw, he recounts his prison experience with his late sister. And this is the part, Doc, where you were saying, like, breathe the revolution, by inhaling the radonium fumes.
Yep.
Saw accepts that revolution will destroy him, just like it did Stella, but embraces it anyway. Which brings me up to a question that we'll ask a little bit, where it sort of mirrors Luthen and Cassian, how his resolve mirrors Luthen and Cassian's sort of effort in the rebellion. But,
real quick, Andor's alias is Varian Skye. Takako.
Varian Skye. There it is. That's a man. Varian Skye. That's a
really
cool name, man.
That's Varian Skye.
There he is.
That is a clothing designer's name.
I was just about to say, for all of the people that make the cool t-shirts we wear, can someone put this face on a t-shirt with that name? I will wear that t-shirt with pride.
Yo,
like some Varian Skye.
Hey, she calling you
I want the Varian Skye merch from Andor season 2. Please. Please.
We own it. Jen, we own it.
Hey.
So this episode picked up a lot. This picked up a bit.
Yeah.
We see some spy. It's a spy thriller essentially. We see it on both sides with Cassian and what Syril's doing, and even what Mon Mothma's doing, and Luthen's doing. So, Doc, go ahead, Jen.
I just want to throw in. We also see what Corbin is doing, and why he picks Dedra, and this is basically Dedra's plan in motion. This is what we're seeing: the manipulation.
Corbin playing chess, and the rest of these mother suckers ain't even paying attention. That's the problem. But we'll talk about it.
But Doc, I'll throw it up to you then. Your overall thoughts of this episode leading into our episode 6 that we'll get to soon. But what were your thoughts on it overall?
Dion, what's my 2 favorite words, my guy?
Yeah.
Come on. There was none. But
why don't you all have a t-shirt with Dog's face on it that says action on it in your merch shop? That's merch.
Let me tell you something. There was no action in this part 7. But let me tell you something. I mean, sorry, part 5.
Wait,
I was
yeah.
I was in there because I know it was leading somewhere, and I really wanted to see what Bix is going through, but they not really showing it. They didn't really show it too tough, right? So we already knew she went through this situation. She got hooked on the liquid blue magic. You feel me? And she's just sitting there like questioning her existence right now. You got Luthen on the other hand. Hey, yeah, I want you to get well, but I don't nothing about your feelings right now. I need you back in the game. All right. You got Cassian on the other hand, like, man, I love my woman. I just want to help her. I want to figure this thing out and see how I can help her. And another thing is, does he know she's on that liquid?
No.
He just thinks
she's hiding it because Luthen even.
So he just thinks she's just dealing with the psychological trauma that the doctor put her through, which she is. But he don't know how she's coping with it. Because I say that because when he came home and it was all clean and stuff, and he was like, "Yo."
He was like, "Wow,
yeah, what is this?" You know what I'm saying? So I'm enjoying that story and the intricacies of it, right?
Yeah.
But pull up my guy. You know my guy. Pull him up for me, please.
Syril.
See, don't do me that. Don't do that. Pull up my man, Saul.
And then I know you meant
let me say something.
Syril.
Just let me say something, man. This actor, Forrest Whitaker, is one of the best actors to ever do it. People don't say that enough.
They don't.
Just go through his, body of work. Mine is Ghost Dog. I still love you. After that, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant actor. I love his voice as this character because, like you said, it's teetering on sane and insanity,
and unhinged,
and it's catching people. Whatever part it is, it's catching people, which is why he's part of the leadership when it comes to the rebellion. You feel?
Here's the thing, I feel like he's such a great storyteller too. The whole time when he's talking, I'm just man.
You sit there,
kicking.
You were so drawn in. When he goes into a monologue, you are so drawn in. You're captivated by him because one, it's the character that we're witnessing, but then it's also Forrest freaking.
That's what I want to say. That's why I wanted to speak about Forrest Whitaker. Like his acting is
sublime.
Okay.
Sublime.
Yeah. Man, just brilliant. But I mean, I can't wait to see where his character goes. I mean, of course we watched it in Rogue One, but I can't wait to see how he gets there because
especially with the time jumping.
With the time jumps gonna be key. The time jumps and exposing himself to that chemical, because I thought previously in Andor they showed it kind of affected part of his body or something like that.
Well, there's other stuff he does where he's just jacked
right
up.
So that's what I'm thinking. He's on some space stuff other than just inhaling that, rhydonium or whatever.
We call it spice.
Okay. Yeah, he's spice. That's what it is.
He's not some spice.
But I enjoyed this episode 5. So, but his acting just took it from me, and the storytelling leading up to the ending when eventually he tells, basically he tells, take off the mask, just engulf yourself into this rebellion, let it take hold of you. You know what I'm saying? Brilliant acting.
Jen, how about you? Thoughts on this episode 5?
My overall comments are, again, very good. It built up upon the first setup very well. We're seeing where the rebellion's at, how each side is feeling stress for all the different reasons for building up a rebellion in the way that you are. And we're also seeing how the rebellion is in factions because of what we're also going to with Mon Mothma, who is going to denounce the Emperor after the massacre of Ghorman that we're going to see.
I just gotta say one thing, man. Their clothes are beautiful.
They're posh.
Their fashion.
Do you know how many cosplayers are going to go off the hinge with these fashions?
Man, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the fashion, like when Luthen put on his long hair.
You know what I like the most?
What's that?
Cyril's tie game, man.
Get out of here!
Look at that collar. Look at that.
I'm starting to think he's your favorite character.
Like a turtleneck that comes out.
Goodness.
It's like a collarless shirt with a. Come on, man! It's like a preacher's collar.
So what you telling me is you're aware of that?
Heck yeah, I rock that.
That's that Varian Skye all day.
So what? So let's get it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Ewoks, Wookiees, Porgs, Yoda species, and all others in between. Let's get this on the record. Dion, you need to tell me that when we all go to Star Wars Celebration 2027 in Los Angeles, that is going to be your cosplay.
Yeah, that's going to be your cosplay. Y'all know who I'm going to. Everybody over here know who I'm going to be. You know what I'm saying?
I'll go Gerrera.
You already know who I'm going to be.
Come on, man. Look at that tie. Look how that tie.
That is a pathetic tie. That's not a tie.
Every time I see him, I think about him. I think about him laying on the bed while after his mama done embarrassed him. I think about him laying on the bed in the fetal position.
That moment they talked about it at Celebration, that was improv. That wasn't scripted.
He's a great actor. I'm not hating.
Like he said, listen, I knew if I were in this situation how I would felt and what I would do, and that's what he did. So the actress who plays Dedra had no idea what he did until she saw the show, and she was cracking up.
Oh wow!
That was improv. It was not scripted.
But man, every time I see him on the screen,
okay. I don't want this to become like a Syril show, but I do have a question. All right. So it seems like we talked about it. He relishes sort of being useful again. Even though he
wants to prove himself to his mother and Uncle Harold.
Yep.
And even to the point where he's being deceived, right? Jen, do you think he believes in the Empire or just wants to matter?
Well, this is where Syril is actually very interesting because you guys brought up a valid point earlier when we were discussing episode 4, because we do see in season 1, how basically the Empire betrays him as far as when he starts to go after Cassian, where it's it's another conversation in season 1 where both arguments are right and there's really no right answer for the situation, where the boss was like, no, leave it alone. It's just this is how it's going to be. Let it go. And his boss is right, because how the boss called it was actually accurate. So because the boss knows, he's been in the business for his experience, blah, 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 blah. He's correct. But then with that said, Syril does have a point where, no, this was an injustice on our people, the Empire, that we should pursue this. So again, it's one of those things. So it's so when that happened to him and he basically was demoted and sent home to mommy, and had to basically make a call to Uncle Harold to get him a new job to start over and to basically rebuild his reputation because he was sent away in disgrace. Dishonor
you, dishonor your child,
and dishonor the whole family. So him in season 1 going home, he has to deal with his mother. I mean, even the people listening in season 2 is like, the mother is awful.
Yeah,
the first things they say, nothing about Syril, like the mother is awful.
She's not great.
So anyway, ¿cómo se dice? So yeah, like he's been betrayed by the Empire before when he was sent off in disgrace. And I'm sure there's questioning in his mind because he has the perspective, no, I'm right. This is wrong. I have to find a way to prove this, because now he has this vendetta of going after Cassian, this obsession. And he happens to meet Dedra, who discovers what happens in her research and goes to question him. So now, like I said, they have a common enemy. But because of the way he is, and if our suspicions are right and Dedra does betray him, which would not surprise me in the least, just using a pawn because of her hunger for power, which is what Palpatine does. We're also seeing in the Empire how Palpatine is manipulating everybody because everyone is hungry for power. They want to climb up the scale. This is what he wants. This is what he does. So that's all that puppeteering there. So yeah, I could possibly see Syril be a little back and forth on it, because it's a little hard to read where he's talking about the Ghormans to the mother, and he's very convinced, like, these are good people, these are this, these are that, all the reasons. I was like, huh, that's interesting. But then we see that he's being a double agent, so it's like, where do you stand on this? Because you're working with the people, but then you're working with the Empire at the same time. So where do you land? I like for me
about the end of this.
I like for me with this character, I can't exactly pin him of where he's standing. He really could go either way. Because the other possibility that I talked about after season 1 is Syril actually does a flip on Dedra and does something to her and betrays her because of his hunger for power and wanting to prove himself. Like I could see something like that happen too, because they're both cray and toxic.
Not similar question, man. Well, same question.
I know this ain't the Syril show, but check this. Syril's only purpose in life is to impress his mother.
Yes.
Y'all understand this?
I agree.
So him pursuing, first off, him working.
What's gonna impress her the most?
Because you asked, does he really believe in the Empire? No, he don't give a damn about the Empire. He want to impress his mama. He want his mother to be pleased with him. He want his mother to hug him. He want his mama to love him. He don't give a damn about the Empire. He don't give a damn about them other people. He want his mama to be proud of him. That's why he was trying to break down what he was doing for the Empire when he gave his mama the spider. And she was like, let me call the spider Syril. He look dumb and useless. What the? Come on, man. You see what I'm saying? So even when he went after Cassian in the first season, it was to impress his mother. It wasn't to impress the Empire. Because if he climbs in status, that will impress his mother. That's what will impress her.
So we're saying that's the only reason he's in the situation that he's in right now.
That's why he's such a good spy. He don't give a damn about that.
So what's
I want my mama to be pleased with me.
So that's his glory. That's his glorious purpose.
I'm telling you,
that's
bro,
his.
If you paying attention, yes.
Well, no, I can agree with that because, again, you have to listen to the dialogue and who was saying what. Dedra is the one who was like, I grew up in an Empire camp, blah, 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 blah. And so you could tell she's all about the Empire. She is in on the Empire. She loves the Empire. She wants the Empire to succeed. She's all Empire all the way.
Yes.
Where I haven't heard Syril in his dialogue talk about that a whole lot.
You're right.
It's more about capturing Cassian, bringing someone to justice, and then he gets a promotion.
Is there a chant for the Empire other than the pledge they were doing earlier? Is there like a Hail Hydra for the Empire?
They gonna pin a little stripe on his thing, and his mama gonna be like,
well, but it's back to what it's like Jen was saying, like she's all in comic book in Marvel terms. She's all Hail Hydra.
Yes, she is. 100%.
She is all Hail Hydra. Absolutely.
Syril's just over there. Well, if it gets me to where I'm going, Hail Hydra. It's like that.
Right.
If it gives me what I need, Hail Hydra.
It's like, comes home, I got a girlfriend. I really got a girlfriend. She's real.
Yeah.
She likes me.
So I don't want to let this go by too, because there was a lot of stuff in this episode too. So we'll jump back to Saw real quick. And Wilmon. So quick question, Doc. So let's talk about Wilmon for a second.
Yeah, brilliant.
Do you think with his time with Saw, do you think he's being sort of radicalized or liberated?
Of course.
Or liberated by what Saw puts him through?
Because I was going to say both. If you didn't ask me if he was feeling liberated, both. You know what I'm saying? He's young. His mind is impressionable. You know what I'm saying? But he is a 1,000,000,000% genius to figure out how to steal fuel. You know what I'm saying?
Come up with 8.
How complicated the mechanism was to come up with 8 variations, or to remember 8 variations, because there's way more variations. You know what I'm saying? Brilliant, genius. But brilliant, genius people can be radicalized and, manipulated and used too.
Well, here's the other thing about him. He's grieving the loss of his father, who who's also the one who taught him these things, which is why he doesn't answer the question. Like, he's also protecting himself, but then it's also I would think a trigger point for him where who taught you how to do this? His father.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I'm liking this character, and I think I asked you this earlier, Jen, if he was a new character. You said I'm enjoying his character, and I want to see where he grows. I want to see if he will eventually be like Saul or not. When I say that, will he eventually go to that far of the rebellion in his mind to where like the rebellion is going to kill me regardless because I'm in this thing for life? It don't matter.
Which is
So to answer Dion's question, I think he's definitely getting radicalized. I don't know if it's being liberated, in my opinion. I think it's more radicalization for him, because Saul is still keeping him hostage. But then because Saul is Saul, he kills someone on the inside from the Empire. So he has this moment of, he just saved my life. So then it's this, inner conflict of, well, I gotta see this through now. He just saved my life. You have that little pull there. And it's interesting with characters and how Star Wars writing works, where when a character is offered redemption and you have to pay attention to that, because if the character accepts the redemption, what's being offered to them, things generally will end well. But if they refuse redemption and it's offered to them multiple times, those characters end up in a pretty bad place. So with this character, I could see him being far gone, like Saul, just being completely radicalized and brainwashed of this part of the faction of the rebellion. But then he could be given an opportunity to have a slight redemption of, realizing, this is crazy. This is not what I signed up for. I don't think the rebellion should be like this in turn, or he'll go all the way hard.
Yeah, the radicalized moment for me is this. This doesn't feel liberated. This feels radicalized.
Yeah,
because of that guy, the way
breathe it in, man. Breathe
it in. Breathe it in.
He told this man to breathe in something he knows is 100%, 1,000,000,000% toxic to your flesh. And your, and your lungs,
your brain,
yes, all of it. Everything, like it affects
all
everything.
Of it.
This is starship fuel they are breathing in. People, you get me? They ain't supposed to breathe it in. Yes, he's being radicalized.
I mean, it seems to be working perfectly for Saw. But anyway, anything else before we move on real quick to episode 6? Anything else that we want to?
Are we going to talk about Bix?
Episode 5?
Are we going to talk about Bix?
I will go. Let's go ahead.
Yes.
So, well, let me ask you guys this first. Did you guys talk about Bix last week?
So we did. So if we want to make this the moment to talk about this, I am all for it. So yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. So I know it got leaked of certain content that was going to be introduced in the show that is going to cause division in the fandom. I will say this. I think even though it's new for Star Wars, it's bold. We've never seen it before. It works. It works.
That was sort of our conclusion last week too.
It's infuriating. Oh my god,
it works. But then, because I've said this on the show, and I said this in other places and spaces concerning Star Wars conversation. If you take Star Wars out of it, Star Wars is very relatable, and this is another element that is very relatable because when you think of the Empire and what the Empire is and what the Empire is doing, of course this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Of course this is happening, because if we can introduce in the originals in Jabba the Hutt's palace, the P institution, wink wink, and no one has an issue with that, because you can put 2 and 2 together what they do, and even Leia with Jabba. Like they gave you enough context clues to see what's happening. And I'm glad I reserved judgment beforehand to see how they handled it, because they're pushing it, but then they're also not going too far, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like how we're seeing another character dealing with some form of PTSD, because that's happening. You're in a war. You know, if you research people who were prisoners of war, they go through stuff like this. This is real. And I feel there are people out there with what they do with Bix that can be relatable to her, who have unfortunately have lived through something that traumatic, because I have felt as a Star Wars fan, you can find something you can relate to in what you live through. And I think if they would have done this sooner with a different character, it would not have fit. I think Bix is the right character, and this is the right storytelling with the right tone to execute this well.
Yeah, and that was sort of perfectly said, Jen, because that's what we sort of agreed upon last week, was like, there's no way this can't be a thing. Like
it's happening.
You know, there's no way that it can't be. It's just that it's just finally met our eyeballs with this. And
Andor, it made it more real than people wanted Star Wars to be real. You know what I'm saying?
Out of anything, this Andor feels probably the most grounded thing I've ever watched from Star Wars too. Like there's not many like other beings or anything like that. It's just people most times, man. And it's just people are people. We know how people can be. And with an ounce of power or a drop of power, those are bad people.
Well, and you also have to remember these characters, the Empire is based off the Third Reich. It's
I don't want to do the hand gesture right there.
I am not pulling a Musk. No.
We don't do that.
Does the point work?
Just that. We don't do that.
I saved the other 4 fingers.
But that's what they're based off on from our history, which is one of the reasons why Star Wars does well when it does. It's when it reflects our times. And if you look at that history, they done far worse.
Yeah, just look how they're dressed. Look how the Empire's dressed. Look how
it's based off
their
of
propaganda stuff. Like all that stuff, it's
based off of that. It's basically in the Star Wars universe, you know, them going from planet to planet, going from certain cultures and usurping everything and just killing things in the process without having a care.
I enjoyed that her fight back within that episode too.
Oh, that was good. I was like, hit him again.
Yeah, so that was perfect. A perfect way to end that guy because he
and the fact that they even allow the word to be said.
Yeah, I said that last week. Oh my goodness.
Yep, the fact that they let the word in, I was like,
but here's the thing too, Jen. Like we talked about it a little bit too. You can have it's a whole pie. I didn't do this analogy last week, so bear with me. It's a whole pie that's just Star Wars. It's just a nice pie. Here's a slice of Skeleton Crew. You can have that.
Yes.
Here's a slice of Andor. You can have that too. It does. The pie. It doesn't. It tastes exactly the same. It comes from the same pie crust, same ingredients, same everything. But you can have different pieces to it that works. You can have something for the kids with Skeleton Crew. You can have something that's more grounded and more realistic, like Andor, and it's still the pie is still good.
Good night, Sweet Pea.
So that's how. I don't know if that analogy worked, but I feel like
it makes it. No,
it have it all.
No, it does make sense, and you know that's the other thing Star Wars has been doing for years, even with George Lucas introducing Jar Jar Binks.
Who gets a bum rap, by the way? Just saying.
I love Jar Jar.
The comment down here, it got me.
I love Jar Jar. But like, you know, one of the things that Star Wars has always been doing for years is, you know, they're trying to reach multiple audience members with different ranges of age. So, and they're trying to do things that appease the fans who have been in the fandom for a long time. Some that even go back to seeing the originals. I have a friend named Joe who has been in the fandom since literally the first movie dawned the theaters. He has seen everything, literally.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to do shows like that where you have a show. This is for the fans that have been in it, that love it. It's a spy thriller. these characters, but then you have it doesn't have a lightsaber, so I don't like it. Sit down.
Yeah.
Everything
didn't have a lightsaber, even though we all got them.
It's fine.
We almost saw a little boy take his foot off with a lightsaber a few months ago.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's fine. It can work. But no, Jen, I'm glad we brought that. I'm glad you stopped me so we could talk about that, because we definitely wanted to get your opinion on that from last week.
So I actually think it works. I like it, and I like that we have a character going through some stuff that can be very relatable, because again, this is happening. This is just the first story we are seeing it in full illustration.
Yeah. All right. So let's move to 6. We got one more episode. More. Before we go, let's pop up this one. So it's okay to not like it because there are no lightsabers. It's not okay to declare that because it doesn't have lightsabers, it's not Star Wars.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Well worded.
Right.
And what makes this? Ooh, I don't want to get.
Let's not ask that question. Don't do that.
Let me write it down, and we'll actually later.
Yeah, put a pin in that.
It's a whole separate video.
Yeah.
I will say this too with the Bix and the content conversation, and this is where I'm going to play devil's advocate. Like, we also have to remember that Star Wars is a fantasy. It's not science fiction fantasy. Yeah. It is fantasy. If we can see content like this and other fantasies, and even worse, like Game of Thrones and what's in that show, and everyone is okay with it, don't come knocking Star Wars for basically introducing something we know is happening during this time of war with the Empire.
Exactly.
Don't even play with it. So,
episode 6.
Yes.
What a festive evening. Let's go into it. So,
what a festive evening.
So Cassian, he exits Ghorman, and he's placed by Vel and Cinta, who reconcile emotionally and romantically in this little piece of episode. They realize, however, that Luthen prefers to keep his operatives separate, a strategy that sort of seems to work for him. Luthen's goal is for Ghorman to erupt in open rebellion, believing the symbolic value of a wealthy planet rising up will inspire the galaxy. Cassian, even the pragmatics, had focused on results rather than optics. His fears are confirmed when Luthen pushes forward escalation. The ISB manipulates the rebellion. This is where Syril becomes a double agent again. The rebellion grows to justify the crackdown. Ghorman becomes a sort of powder keg fueled by both sides. On Coruscant, Luthen and Kleya, they infiltrate. I got that one out of place. Yeah, they infiltrate the little high society event to replace that surveillance bug. That was nerve-wracking.
Remove it.
Yeah, remove it. You have to remove it. Like,
get it out. Like it was never there.
Yeah, like bloody hand, palm removal.
My thought was real quick was, I hope you cleaned off that blood off the floor.
Yeah, I know, because maybe she. Oof. Oh man, this is a Willem.
I had to throw that in.
This is a Willem Dafoe Spider-Man situation, man. Like, you just
Yes.
It's
I'm sorry, Dion. I threw you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, it's okay. But the party is a sort of imperial who's who. Director Krennic, he grills Mon over politics, while Kleya and Lonnie, they quietly try to complete their mission. Back on Ghorman, the inevitable happens. A rebel mistakenly shoots Cinta, triggering the very rebellion that the ISB wanted. The Empire now has sort of a justification to crush the planet. Luthen has his martyrs, essentially. The episode also closes with a personal counterstrike as Bix enters Dr. Gorst's office, tortures him with the very audio he used on her, and like a boss, just blew it up, walking away, blowing it up.
Man, I got chills just looking at this scene again, dog.
Man, so,
the vindication,
the
empowerment,
in this writing, I love that they're taking such strong risks. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
and the fact that Cassian was a ride or die in this situation.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah.
You know, like, he let her go up there, do what she needed to do. He tossed it to it. Let's blow this sucker up. Walk away. Because we don't look at explosions. Nobody looks at explosions.
And I know none of this was funny, but when she was walking out, and your boy was like, "Hey, ain't nobody."
Oh man, I was like, "Hey,
I fell out of my chair laughing, dog." When I saw that part.
You got what you were supposed to get,
and she just kept walking like, Let's keep it pushing.
Like a boss.
Exactly. So, Jen, this episode escalated a lot of things. Key takeaways and your thoughts on episode 6.
I love it. Like I said this in the first season, especially when we got to the arc where we're introduced to Dedra in the first time of the Empire. This is a beautiful game of chess and how the pieces are moving around so eloquently. Yeah. I love it. We're actually seeing Krennic and Mon Mothma go at it for me. I'm like, what? Get him on. Get him on. Tear him to shreds
right now.
Call him. Like the way she called him out, like, you mean from a witness yet? I was like,
yeah, I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Get it. And did you see the faces in the crowd when she said that?
Like, no, because here's the thing about that room. People know. They know about, Krennic and the witness stand and Mon Mothma and what she stands for in the Senate. So it's just like awkward tension. There should be awkward tension.
Yeah, there's no way I'd be at that party, man. There's no way.
Oh no! Listen,
if you a smug SOB,
I would have showed up. If I would have found out that both Krennic and Mon Mothma were going to be at the party, I would have brought popcorn for everybody. Be like, here you go.
Just in there like Michael, just
like Stephen Colbert downing popcorn while I watch the show. But yeah, like I love seeing the different dynamics from going to Dedra and Syril. And her and I forget the character's name, but her boss essentially, who's also involved because they're both working for Krennic, and how their manipulation is working with these rebels, getting these rebels to do the wrong thing, which is exactly what happened. And then you have Luthen and Cassian, because they're like, Luthen is seeing how there's so many different things going on that are becoming loose ends and he's becoming overwhelmed, and he admits it, like there's too much information. There's just too much to do this and to that. And like they're having their argument at his shop. So seeing the stress on all sides because of where we're slowly building to is satisfying for me. And then you have, Cassian with his opinion, because Cassian, again, it's another conversation. Cassian and Luthen are both right. Cassian is right. They're not ready to handle the rebellion. They're not prepared. But then they have their viewpoints, because with the conversation Cassian has with that gentleman, he's like, you're not really much of a revolutionary, are you?
Yeah.
And it catches him off guard because that's not been his perspective. He's been doing that just in a different way. So and the other thing that this is showing so eloquently is the different rebellion factions and how they're not united, because it's also building toward when Mon Mothma denounces the Emperor and how it connects to what we see in Rebels, where she does her speech to all of the rebel factions and brings them together. We have to see that in the show, and I think we're seeing that really well.
Yeah.
Doc, what you got?
Just thinking about what Jen was saying about this brilliant game of chess. You got to understand, they are, playing chess for the Empire, who is in turn playing chess, who is in turn playing chess. This is how you build your team. And just watching them play this game is beautiful. But
with Palpatine puppeting everything.
Luthen,
he's there.
He's in the shadows somewhere, just lurking.
I think Luthen is slipping. You know what I'm saying? He's playing tough, and he's a really good spy. Give him that. But I think he's slipping.
Well, similar to what Jen said, like there's a lot of information going around. There's a lot of there's no one main line of his mission anymore. There's not it's not a defined role or avenue for him to take.
But it all started out.
I gotta cover this. I gotta cover that. I gotta go back and get the surveillance.
I mean, look what he did with Mon Mothma's friend in the first episode arcs. He had him killed because it was too risky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if he was on his game, there's no way he would have bought a forgery with real money, or what they call it wherever they live. You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't known for that. You know what I'm saying? It's no way he would not have every duck in a row and keeping tabs on every duck in a row.
Hard to juggle, man. But this is a rebellion that's happened. A revolution is happening.
Well, no,
but this is what he was sent to do, to create the revolution, to create the rebellion.
But then keep in mind with the time jumping, you know, it shows how where things have progressed to and how the game is changing, because the Empire's doing things, because, you know, the Emperor's doing his puppeteering, and then you still have Dedra, you know, wanting to, you know, handle Cassian and the insurgents, but then Krennic is doing the same thing. It's like, well, we need to usurp this, and there are insurgents, and we need to handle that, but we need to usurp this planet. And he basically says, yeah, no, we're going to usurp the planet. Like, he says it in a circle. It's like, this may happen. It is very possible. Basically saying, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And for anyone who wants further context, the book Radicalized also ties into the Rogue One timeline, where Krennic is really in it, and you see that happening in the book with other planets being overly usurped and just completely obliterated for the building of the Death Star. So, and the fact that they're still calling it the project.
Yeah, the project.
Haven't even announced it yet. They're calling it the project. That's what they do in the book too. Anyway, so yeah, just got off track a little bit. Where was I don't know. Sorry.
Well, I was starting thinking about the book, and I wrote down the book name, so I was like,
the Radicalized. That's where you were.
Yeah. Radicalized.
Before you went on rant.
Yeah, sorry. That's my
okay. I love the rants.
well, let me sort of throw us back. Jump to Bix real quick. So the torture that she went through, she finally sort of gets, well, I won't say, I'll save that for y'all to answer. Kills Gorst using the Empire's own weapons, or his own weapons, his own methods against him.
That's a big deal. It's just not a personal vendetta. There's something else at play.
Was that justice, revenge, or something else? And where do you think this takes Bix moving forward? Jen, I'll start with you first.
So there are two things with this. So from Bix's perspective, because this is a blossom from the conversation Cassian has with Lucen when he goes to confront him. It's like, you went to go see my wife?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why did you? Because I know you. You know we were going to have this conversation. I know this. I know that. I know this. And you know he's like, look, we're really worried about her. You don't understand what I'm living with, and blah 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 blah. And what does Luthen do? He gives a solution by sending her on a message to go take out this doctor, which is interesting because there was a moment. I don't think it was in this arc. I think it was in the first arc. I think I have to go back and rewatch, but they mentioned this doctor before and how he basically got greenlit by the Emperor to expand the way he was torturing people. Oof. Like he just got like the green light to go forth and do worse, and they just took it out. And here's the interesting thing: the rebellion didn't know that, but then now it puts a rift in the Empire's plans for what the Emperor greenlit for him. So that's out.
That's out now. That's gone. That got blown up with him. Doc, same question. Revenge, justice, and where does it take her from here?
I just hate she couldn't have taken that mechanism with her and just got close to all the bad people and put that on their head.
That's her form of justice?
Man, come on. Let's get some. Because, I mean, her mind is gone. I'm be honest with you. It's gone. And
I don't know if it's necessarily gone, but it is definitely tortured.
But I put it to you like this. There's no doctor in her immediate vicinity that can help her with this problem. The way she took him out kind of helped.
I would push back on that a little bit, only because she's not telling Cassian the truth, which is not.
Ain't no damn doctor. Cassian is a soldier.
Well,
But
that shouldn't really matter, because the only way she needs to get the help she needs is telling the truth of how and where she really is. She's not being honest, because she's trying to handle it on her own. So that's only doing her a disservice. To get back to your question, Dion, I don't know what this is going to do for her in the future, because it either one or two things are going to happen. It's going to help her because it gives her closure. She's going to feel more safe now, knowing that this person who violated her in the way he did on multiple levels is actually dead. It will give her will most likely give her peace to know that he's gone. He's not going to hurt anyone else. He's not going to find her and take her again and put her through all that again and worse. But then I don't know if the revenge will fully free her in the way she's hoping, because she has to admit she's still having issues, and the fact that she's doing drugs to try to cope,
it's not a good thing.
So I'm not sure what's going to happen with her in that respect.
I think that's going to empower her for that moment, and I think it will help, like you said, with her hallucinations and her dreams, that he is gone and she knows that he can't hurt her anymore.
He's not going to come back.
Yeah.
I took it back a little bit. I thought I may have saw her smirk or smile a bit.
She did.
So I had to run it back and was like, did she smirk? I don't know.
Did.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe that's boy, that elephant's off my back. I don't have to worry about him coming to get me anymore. This is what I'm saying. If people survive traumatic events done by other people, hey, walk away explosions. That's all I gotta say.
Well, the other thing
let's precursor that with it. Not in real life, the TV show. So yeah, we don't want people out here blowing stuff up.
Here's the other thing they did.
If they did that to me or somebody, hey,
yeah, you gonna keep going.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done.
So here's the
don't
other
do bad things, is what I'm saying.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing they did in that explosion. They just blew up all information data on the people they had on the past. So, and if that was the sole area of information being held by people like Bix's information, that just got destroyed. So there's no more data on her.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
So they destroyed a whole data bank of information from people they have captured.
Oh, and Cassian's face and his information could have been on that database too.
So they destroyed some vital information along with that guy. So that's
and he was probably, what if he was the only guy that did that technique? But then again, what if he wasn't though?
Well, here's the thing. We really don't know. But the fact that they did mention that he got greenlit by the Emperor to expand that program could be an indication he was the only one, but then there are other people working under him, so they can replicate it.
If they go find those same aliens that he uses when he puts his device on your brain, on your head. I'm sorry.
I mean, well, we see it. We see that same technology being used in Mandalorian in the most recent season. So it is replicated.
But now she doesn't have to worry about, like you said, records gone. She's not on their radar anymore. He's not alive anymore. So I think that's a total win for her.
That's gonna give her some peace to know that he is not coming back.
Yeah.
So anything else jumped out of this episode that we want to just bring up, or because I think those were very impactful.
Pull him up, pull him up. That crying son of a, get the duck sounds ready.
Wait, who?
Okay, so
go ahead, Jen.
There was so much that happened in these 3 episodes. like if we really wanted to talk about the nitty-gritty, I think we would need 2 hours to fully dissect everything, because the other character that came back is the mole we were introduced from season 1, who was working in the Empire, who's also talking to Luthen. We're seeing him more because he's the one that tells Luthen, Dedra's been on Ghorman for a year, and it doesn't make sense why she's on Ghorman for a year. He finds that out and confirmed it, because Luthen's like, you haven't been in contact with me. Why? He goes, I haven't had information that I knew was solid until just today, which is why I'm here today. And
what was his name? Lonnie?
Like,
was it Lonnie?
Lonnie, thank you. His name is Lonnie. Lonnie the mole. So and the look on Luthen's face, like, wait, what? She's what? Why? And he can't even figure it out. So it's very interesting, like, to even see that piece of it, just like all these different moving pieces, and that we're seeing more of Lonnie and his involvement, and how you can see like he's really like on edge as he's going deeper and deeper in this, because he's so deep into this. There's no way he's getting out. No way, unless he gets killed. That's the only way at this point.
Yeah, he's in way too deep.
Yeah,
I'll give you
the dude that killed old girl.
Our last one.
The dude that killed old girl. Do you have a picture of this guy?
I don't have him, but
during the event, yes.
Ooh. All he had to do was keep old boy occupied long enough to where he didn't turn around and see them taking the gear. That's all he had to do.
But
you know what I'm saying?
It proved Cassian's point that they're not ready.
No, they were not ready, and then you had no reason to pull your pistol out.
But then it also showed that they played into the Empire's hands, because Cassian told the guy, he's like, listen, they will give misinformation on purpose for their vendetta. That's exactly what they were doing, and they fell into it.
And then here we go with this struggle, and then you accidentally shoot like old girl said, a real soldier out here in these streets, been out here doing this.
Yep.
You accidentally shoot her, somebody that you wanted to be.
And then the driver basically goes off with another old woman, where they were told you cannot leave your post under any circumstances. And what does she do? She leaves.
They should not have been there at all, like Cassian said.
They
not ready.
But this still played well into Luthen's
idea or plan.
Martyrs, and we got an uprising in a place where, it's a well-to-do place.
Man.
Jen?
There's a person in the comments that just put something in there. I want to address it.
We are.
Will,
how you doing? Yeah,
Will. You need to go watch this show. Go watch this show. Go forth. Be happy. Enjoy. Yes.
Will, definitely give it a shot, man. Like, even with season one, there's moments in that where you're like, just to hold the prison thing. I'll just say the prison one.
Yes.
Masterful show.
At Star Wars Celebration, they had an Andor panel, and they basically put a call out for fans to come dressed up, and they did a whole march through Celebration, going one way out, up and running out of the building after the Andor panel. It was fantastic. And they got a bigger response that they were prepared for. It was great.
So what I wanted to do, if there's not anything else, because it was like Jen said, we could have gone another hour about this.
There's so much,
which we might have to extend it for the finale, or at least for the last 4, just so we can get everything in.
We're gonna need.
I was just gonna say, can we go back to it's probably too late, but I was gonna say when what's her name? Kayla? I'm not saying that right. With the key.
Kleya.
Yeah, absolutely. The one to me who actually looks like Princess Leia. Every time I look at her, I'm like, dang, she looked like Carrie Fisher.
There is some resemblance there.
The determination to remove something, or we could be found out, or this could ruin the plan. So you talk about a soldier that's willing to go through the fire for you, man. No, because I didn't think she was gonna get that device, sir.
Well, it was her calm.
Yes, and how she was like, move to the left, move to the right. I would put something through you.
Lonnie was like, man, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
You better not move. You're going to do what I say. So move to the right.
Yeah, Lonnie was like, I'm about to be out of here. But
man.
She still come with it.
Even the way she talks to Luthen from, listen, you want information? I have to get back to the shop. Yep. I can't do anything from here. I am useless to you. Let me go back to the shop. And then she goes. And the way she confronts Luthen, it's like, you agreed to do all of this. You freaking agreed.
Yep.
You
calling him out. Yeah. So I love her character.
Yeah, I think, again, being broken down into parts like it's being broken down now, 3 episodes a piece, which is a lot, 50 minutes a pop sometimes, but but it's really good. It's really good TV. It's really good Star Wars. It's really good.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good.
It's filling a line, or it's taking one path where it's like, this is Star Wars. This might not be like a Star Wars there's no lightsabers.
Yeah.
But
we still got plenty of pew-pews.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing that made Rogue
One.
But that's the thing that made Rogue One to me pretty dope, because we knew it was there a single Jedi in it?
Darth Vader.
Yeah. And we saw how he walked through people. So that's all we needed.
That's all we needed. That's all we needed. All you needed was Anakin, Darth Vader Skywalker, showing up, playing cat and mouse like he likes to do, purposely turning off his suit and using the Force to wreck shop in that hall.
Yes.
That's, again, I've always said, like, that's the boogeyman image of Darth Vader. That's the one where, like, we've never, before then, Vader was just walking the halls. A few lightsaber battles with Luke and Obi-Wan, right?
Like,
but he's so mean and bad that that's what you think.
If you want the epitome of an illustration of a OS moment, that's it.
Yeah, that's the big bad. That's what we think of when we see him, but we didn't see it until that movie where he just walked through them easily
with his suit off, purposely turned off his suit, because Vader does that. Because one of the things Vader does throughout the books and the comic books is he learns how to use the suit for his advantage, and he makes his own changes to the suit over time. And it shows you how powerful he really is in the Force, because this is not the first time he's done that, where he turns off the suit and he's just using the Force to keep him alive and to wreck shop. And he does it on purpose to add extra scare effect, like, oh,
yeah, hate is a hell of a drug. But
that's Anakin. It's just like, oh, hi, Anakin. Are you angry? Oh, crap. Give this man a Snickers.
So I do want to end on one little newer segment. It's sort of our it's like a rapid fire section.
Okay.
I don't have a timer. I don't have anything, but I do have some rapid fire questions just to get through. I'll ask them at the same time. And first thing comes to mind, y'all just say it. Okay.
Who do you want to go first each time?
I just wanted to just say it. I think that we'll pick it up. Oh, I did have an intro for this. Hold on.
Okay.
Press this is our rapid fire portion of our show, where we're gonna just drill Jen and Doc with questions. So let's do it.
I was not prepared for that.
Why do I have to go up against Jen on some Star Wars stuff, bro?
Well, it's not questions. It's just rapid fire stuff of what you think about these last 3 episodes. All right. Mm-hmm. So first question: most untrustworthy character right now?
Syril.
Syril.
I don't agree, but okay. Who's the better manipulator, Luthen or Deidre?
Luthen.
Ooh. I don't know if I can pick between the two, because I think they both are excellent manipulators in their own way.
Jen, come on. I need an answer.
Dedra.
Dedra. Okay. Should the Ghorman, okay. In hindsight, right? Should the Ghorman front have stood down?
Yes.
Yeah.
MVP of the show, is Syril a future villain or tragic hero?
Trash.
An option. I'm sorry, that's not an option.
Villain.
I'm gonna go with the villain for right now.
I think tragic hero, but I'll be.
Get off the screen. Off the screen.
Give us some time. And our last one, most dangerous rebel, Saw or Luthen?
Both. Saw Gerrera because we know where he ends, and then Luthen because he's an accelerist. He wants to poke the fire and just like
it's Saw.
Let it burn brightly, as he said.
Anybody that play in gas and be like, no, it's him. Get him out of there.
Look what Takako put in the chat. I think it's about Syril.
Hapless victim. Understandable. But that was our little segment. I wanted to shoot those real quick just to see your immediate thoughts on sort of the questions and the stuff we've gone over tonight. But man, we got 2 more parts of this left. Woo. 2 more times to talk about this.
It's gonna be good.
2 more times to talk about 6 episodes. Anyway, we'll figure it out. And we'll come back and we'll do this again.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back and do this all again. Jen, so happy to have you back. And I'm so happy to be back.
Yes.
Too. But Jen, let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow us. I'm sure they know by now, but still, if they're watching for the first time, let them know.
So you can follow me on Instagram, at Nerdiqua, and then also at Rocking the Bald Pod. That is my podcast. I'm also on TikTok for as long as we have it at Nerdiqua, as well as Blue Sky.
And Doc, again, thanks for holding the channel down. I get content out on Instagram and stuff when I can, every now and then if I can. But we'll put some clips out for this to jump up for next week too. But Doc, I'm gonna let you close us out, man. Let the people know where they can follow us, where they can support all the socials,
all the stuff. All right, y'all already know it's me, Doc. Closing this thing out once again for another beautiful evening where we discuss Andor. Y'all need to go check it out. If you hadn't checked that out, go check it out. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, right here on beautiful YouTube, and on TikTok. And as Jen just said, they about to shut it down, so the clock is ticking. Harry, go on over there and follow us. We out this thing.
Was that a pocket watch?
You for sure.
Like
the whole time.
We out of here, please.
Bye.
How old are you?